Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So current transfer rumours to give you guys an update on them of course. So a lot to talk about in this video today, but if you do consider dropping likes and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So as you all do currently know, there's a lot of players on Manchester United's agenda of course. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on bringing players in who he thinks are good enough to represent Manchester United, and he's also working on trying to keep his imperative players at Manchester United, and obviously there's still lots to address in that squad. Obviously you can see the deficiencies in the squad, and you can identify the areas where Manchester United are lacking. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new players to the club. Obviously we're close to getting a deal over the line for Daniel James, and his transfer to Manchester United is set to be announced sometime this week. So that is very exciting indeed. So we do know mainly that the most player that's been widely spoken about in this window, of course, is Matthias de Ligt, and I think the majority of Manchester United fans, would like to see him come to Old Trafford. As you all know, he's a central defender, and obviously, that's one of the priority areas where Manchester United do need to strengthen up. So we do know Matthias de Ligt has been widely spoken about. He has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, but we do know a number of clubs have inquired about his services. But we've had positive news, regarding Matthias de Ligt, at least in the last 2 to 3 days, of course, because obviously, as said, Barcelona have culled their interest in the player, because obviously, Barcelona are not willing to increase the offer, and they're not willing to meet, what de Ligt's agent Raiola is currently demanding. So potentially, they're not willing to increase the offer Barcelona. So obviously, Barcelona and Barcelona, Matthias de Ligt and all that, have struggled to come to an agreement on the terms. So reportedly now Barcelona have opted out of the race. So it did potentially say, Manchester United are willing to offer him a contract, worth up to £350,000 a week. So potentially Manchester United have made it clear, we are willing to outbid any teams for his current signature. So £350,000 a week, equates to around almost £17 million a year. So if this was to actually, process, this would make Matthias de Ligt one of the highest paid players at the club, making the highest paid teenager in world football as well. And I do believe it would be the right solution for Manchester United. But in terms of transfer fees, he's going to cost you around 65 or 70 million pounds. And it did allegedly say that Manchester United put a bid in for him of around 70 million pounds. But we do know the likes of City have been interested in him. Obviously, Liverpool have also been interested in Matthias de Ligt. I think it also said that Bayern Munich had expressed their interest. So there's been so many teams that have been linked with Matthias de Ligt. I think it's very imminent that he's going to be leaving Ajax this summer, but it still remains uncertain, where he will be applying his trade next season. But we do know, at least in the last couple of months, obviously, Barcelona have been emerged as the front runners, to currently get the player's signature. Obviously, it only came out, was it last week, according to Sky Sports, saying that, Matthias de Ligt was set to join Barcelona and all that, because I think that was his preferred destination, Barcelona. Obviously, maybe because he wanted to reunite with his teammate Frankie de Jong. But there has been a change of scenery since then. So Man United have come up with this improved contract offer. I think from, de Ligt's perspective, I think he blatantly, told his representatives, that he's willing to accept Manchester United's contract offer. But some reports did speculate, saying that he's determined to join Manchester United, even though Manchester United, cannot offer him a Champions League football for next season. But it did initially say, was it 3 or 4 days ago, if I can remember rightly, saying, Man United adopted him out of the race. I think they did provide the reason. I think Manchester United were too convinced, that he's probably not going to join Barcelona, and this is why initially Man United opted out of the race. This was nothing to do, with Barcelona, Muslim Man United. This was nothing to do with Matthias de Ligt saying no to the Old Trafford move. It just said initially Manchester United adopted him out of the race. So I'd love Matthias de Ligt to come to Manchester United. It's not certain that he is going to come, even though it's said that Barcelona have dropped him out of the race. Who knows? He could, even though he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, who knows? He could, stay. He could stay with Ajax, and he could remain loyal with Ajax. Could Matthias de Ligt? But I think there's a lot of credibility in these stories, and I think I started to believe it more. When Gerard Romero came out, obviously, who was a very reliable Spanish journalist, and he basically said Manchester United are very close to signing Matthias de Ligt. He didn't say if he's come to any agreement or the terms have been agreed. He just said Manchester United are very close to signing Matthias de Ligt. And I really like Matthias de Ligt a lot. He's only 19 years of age. Obviously, as well, he's going to fit under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy, because obviously because obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to sign young players this summer. And Matthias de Ligt, I think if he comes to the Premier League, it will take his career to the next level. So far he has spent the entire term of his career, with Ajax. He's been an Ajax player since the age of 8, and the age of 8 or the age of 9, and he's progressed up the ranks fantastically well, and he's flourishing, and he made his senior debut at the age of 16, so he's had 3 years worth of experience in their senior squad. As Matthias de Ligt, very, very tall as well, which is very, very beneficial. But like I said, I do believe Manchester United, need 2 central defenders, and I'd love Matthias de Ligt, to come to Manchester United. So he's the most player that's been widely spoken about throughout the course of this window. So I do believe he probably will leave, but I still think it remains uncertain at the moment, where he will be applying his trade next season. So essentially, the headlines were mainly broke out about this, was it, about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. Edwin van der Sar came out, was the CEO of Ajax, and he basically said, de Ligt's probably going to leave Ajax. He said he's convinced he'll either go to England or Spain, of course. But I think quite a few suggestions, stirred up, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, when basically Rio Ferdinand, had put a post on Instagram, when Manchester United's Champions League success back in 2008, and obviously, Matthias de Ligt had liked that post, and then, some Manchester United fans at that point, were convinced, he does want to make the move to Old Trafford. I think, it still says Liverpool are interested in him. I don't think Jurgen Klopp is intending on, making a move for him, because I think, Liverpool know that they don't even really need a central defender. Obviously, they've got Virgil van Dijk, who they paid £75 million for, of course. I think the main factor reason why Liverpool were interesting, because obviously, Virgil van Dijk and Matthias de Ligt know each other really, really well. They're both Dutch, they're both playing the Netherlands national team, of course. But I think Liverpool are focusing on other areas in their squad where they may feel as though they need to strengthen them up. But I think Manchester United, could now be in the ascendancy, to get Matthias de Ligt now, that reportedly, Barcelona have opted out of the race. But some reports were still saying that, Matthias de Ligt to Barcelona is a done deal, and all that. Obviously, a fee had been agreed, but obviously they couldn't come to an agreement on the terms, because obviously Barcelona are not willing to meet what de Ligt's demanding and what his agent Raiola, of course, is demanding. So basically, de Ligt and his agent Raiola have been demanding more money, and I think Manchester United are willing to meet, what his agent Raiola is demanding. So this could get, that means we could get a deal over the line for him. So I'd love, Matthias de Ligt, to come to Manchester United, indeed. And he's had a great season with Ajax. Ajax have won the domestic double this season for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Also, won the Eredivisie title. Obviously progressed to the Champions League semi-finals. So Ajax have had a really, really good season. So I hope, Matthias de Ligt, can make the move to Manchester United. Obviously City as well, as I said, have been interesting. Obviously City now are looking for a replacement for Vincent Kompany, after obviously left Manchester City after serving 11 years with the club. So City have been interesting. So I would say at the moment, Manchester United are probably now in the ascendancy now that Barcelona have currently opted out of the race. So other news to give you an update on, and we do know who's been spoken about a lot as well throughout this window, has been Crystal Palace's Wan-Bissaka. Now we do know he's one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. Is Wan-Bissaka now. He's 21 years of age. I think the quoted fee is around 60 or is it 70 million pounds? Like Crystal Palace want. I think it came out, was it about 5 or 6 days ago? As I did give you my update on saying that reportedly Manchester United had submitted a bid of around 25 million pounds. Obviously, like I said, this isn't going to be enough, to convince, Crystal Palace, to do any business with a player. Potentially, he's predominantly a right back, and obviously, Manchester United need right back. Obviously, we need a replacement for Valencia. We need an upgrade to Ash Young. We need a cover up for Diego Dalot, and I like Diego Dalot. I think he will come really, really good. He's the upcoming future. I think he demonstrated a couple of times throughout the course, the season. Where he did, perform well. Diego Dalot. We know Ash Young's obviously the first choice right back, but sometimes we have put Diego Dalot in more of an attacking position. Sometimes we put Dalot as a left back and all that, but I think he's mainly a right back as Diego Dalot. But I still believe, we need a cover up for him, and I think, Wan-Bissaka, would be the right solution. He's done really, really well with Crystal Palace, and he's only been there senior squad about, 15 months now, Wan-Bissaka. He has got 3 years left on his contract with Crystal Palace. But like I said, I think we need to get the right players who've got the ability to elevate Manchester United, at least in the next 2 to 3 years, of course. And I think, Wan-Bissaka, would definitely, be the right candidate for Manchester United. Obviously, so far, has spent the entirety of his career with Crystal Palace. Obviously, like I said, he's only been in the senior squad about 15 months. I think initially when he was a lot younger, he was a winner, and obviously now as he was going and developing, Wan-Bissaka then got rotated as a right back. So potentially Man United had reportedly submitted a bid of around 25 million. I think it did say Tottenham and Manchester City have also inquired about his services. So Wan-Bissaka has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously as well, he is British, and that's another thing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has emphasised an interest in quite a few British players. So I would love Wan-Bissaka at Manchester United. So there's still a lot of talks about him currently going on. As I did basically give you my update yesterday of what was going on in regards to Paul Pogba from Manchester United. Now it's looking very imminent, that he's going to be leaving Manchester United, and that his third destination is Real Madrid, and his likely destination, of course, is Real Madrid. So now potentially a lot of reports were coming out from Spanish outlets yesterday saying that Paul Pogba to Real Madrid is practically done, and this was actually stemming from a very reliable Spanish journalist. I think he's called Eduardo Inda. He basically hinted out that Paul Pogba to Real Madrid is practically done. He basically said that Paul Pogba has agreed a massive pay cut, of course, to make his move to Madrid. I think his salary, his annual salary is set to be reduced from 13 million to 10 million pound a year. So he does reduce by about his wages are set to drop by about 3 million pounds, something like that. Because initially, going back, was it the other week? Well, quite a few weeks ago now, it did say the talks between Paul Pogba and Real Madrid had currently stalled. Based on his 13 million a year wage demands. Obviously, Real Madrid were not willing to meet his 13 million a year wage demands, and this is the main factor reason why he's having his wages dropped by around 3 million pounds. So he can make his move to Real Madrid. I still believe that a fee is being negotiated. I think according to the Eduardo Inda, he's basically suggested out that a fee between 137 and 150 million pounds is being negotiated. Of course. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is doing everything, to try and convince, Paul Pogba, to remain at the football club, even though he hasn't really been the fundamental player as we all thought he would have been. He hasn't really exceeded expectation levels as we all thought he would have done, regarding what he did in his 4 years with Juventus. I think Manchester United and that still know how much of an imperative, player Paul Pogba is. And, prime example, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came out, was it last week? Basically, he says he was willing to offer, Paul Pogba the captaincy, in a bid, to convince him to stay at the club. But obviously, this isn't going to be enough, to convince Paul Pogba to stay at Manchester United. And potentially, we do know that Zinedine Zidane is a big admirer of the player. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane's got a lot of players on his agenda this summer, but obviously he's identified his two main priority targets, and also that's obviously Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard, of course. But we do know he's been on Real Madrid's agenda now for a long time as Pogba. Obviously, from his own preference, going back a while back, Paul Pogba was talking a lot about Real Madrid. He did identify at some point in his career that he does want to play for Real Madrid, and maybe a couple of the main factors reasons why he wants to go to Madrid. Maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, maybe he wants to be up there challenging, wants to be winning silverware, wants to be in Champions League football, and obviously this is something, that Manchester United cannot offer him, of course. So maybe there are a couple of reasons why Paul Pogba wants to leave. He's 26 years of age, so he's still in his prime. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. He has still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United as Paul Pogba. Obviously, we do know Manchester United paid £89 million for him. Obviously, our most expensive signing, of course. And like I said, it doesn't always guarantee you success. It doesn't always get you in that commanding position. Always spending big on players. Getting them Galactico players, because Manchester United have got an history of spending big on players, especially in recent years. Prime example, Lukaku 75 million. We know Paul Pogba 89 million. But overall, in the last 5 or 6 years, Manchester United have invested a lot of money anywhere. So I think we've spent like £700 million. Since Alex Ferguson retired. We've had different managers with different kind of philosophies. Of course, so always spending big, and that doesn't always get you in that commanding position. Of course, where you do currently want to be. Like I said, I believe in the next couple of seasons at least. I have aspirations. He's going to be fighting for that top four. Obviously, we're at least 3 or 4 years off. I do believe in being a competitive elite level football club, or for mounting like any kind of title challenge up. And I think another problem with Manchester United, we have let far too many players' contracts run down, and that's been another problem. But talking about Pogba, like I said, he's got 3 years left on his contract, and I think at least in the last 5 or 6 weeks that Paul Pogba's agent Raiola, has been in the process of getting him his move to Real Madrid, of course. But I think we mainly saw the best of Paul. We mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager, his first 3 months, of course. That's when we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba. And I think we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba when Ander Herrera was playing. So that just emphasises how much of an impact Ander Herrera made. Obviously, he was freeing up the likes of Pogba, and that's when Pogba was scoring goals. He was providing. He was expressing expressing himself, and Pogba in that 3-month period, you know, was in absolutely scintillating form. But I think at least in his last 8 or 9 games, you know, his performances have been way below par of Paul Pogba's. So yeah, I think he's definitely not going to be leaving the club. Some reports have still been saying that Juventus are interested in re-signing him. It did say Juventus were willing to offer it said Juventus were willing to offer 2 of their players, you know, as part of the deal, you know, to currently lure Paul Pogba away from Manchester United. It did say Juventus were willing to offer Paul Dybala and Alex Sandro as part of the deal, you know, to currently get Paul Pogba. But it's looking likely, you know, he will be going to Real Madrid. Paul Pogba last year, you know, was, widely spoken about. He was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, obviously, you know, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Last year, he was linked to his former club Juventus, and he was also, you know, linked with a move to Barcelona. Sorry, guys, about that. And was also, you know, linked with a move to Barcelona, as you all currently know. But yeah, looking likely he's going to be currently, you know, going to Real Madrid. Is Paul Pogba. I think a fee is still basically not being agreed. And like I said, you know, if we can get between 135 and 145 million pounds for Paul Pogba, you know, we can potentially, you know, get 2 players there with that money. I know it's going to be hard to find a player of Paul Pogba's calibre and level, but I said we can get 2 players there with that money at least, you know, of what we're cashing for Paul Pogba. Now, essentially, as I give you an update, was it yesterday or the early hours of the morning about Romelu Lukaku? Now, potentially, it's looking very, very imminent that Lukaku is going to be leaving Manchester United. After reports came out saying that he has agreed personal terms with Inter Milan. It did actually say that Romelu Lukaku, I think he's been in Italy and he's held negotiations with Inter Milan's representatives, and reportedly, you know, Lukaku has agreed a deal to join Inter Milan. So the personal terms that have been agreed. I think Lukaku, you know, came out a while back. He came out a while back, you know, the day Romelu Lukaku. He came out a while back, and I think he said about his dream of playing in the Serie A, and he's destined, you know, to make the move to Italy. Is Lukaku, so potentially he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has blatantly told him that he's surplus to requirements at Manchester United. So obviously, I think the personal terms of that have been agreed. Obviously, you know, Inter Milan are set to appoint Antonio Conte as their new manager, you know, to replace Lucio Spelta, and Antonio Conte has reportedly identified Romelu Lukaku as his number 1 target. Now, potentially, you know, not an initial fee has obviously, you know, not yet come to an agreement. Of course, obviously, I think the quoted fee is around 60 million pounds that Manchester United want for, you know, Romelu Lukaku. So basically, we're looking to recoup the majority of the money, you know, that we did pay for him from Everton, of course, back in 2017. I think in Inter Milan, you know, rate him at around 50 million pounds, but reportedly, you know, Man United want around 62 or 63 million pounds for Romelu Lukaku. So obviously, an initial fee has not yet, you know, come to an agreement. Obviously, you know, Lukaku's on around £250,000 a week. I think Lukaku is willing to take a pay cut, you know, to make his move to Inter Milan. So I think his full wages are about £250,000 a week. You know, some people say it's £170,000 a week, but I think his full wages are around £250,000 a week. Lukaku, of course, has still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. Obviously, we paid £75 million in from Everton. There was add-ons including the deal of 15 million, so it did initially rise it to 90 million pounds, as you all currently know. But, you know, analysing Lukaku throughout the course of last season, you know, he enjoyed a very, very difficult time. So he didn't have a great second season with Manchester United, did Lukaku, as we know, mainly Rashford has been first choice ahead of him. You know, he did well in his first season with Manchester United, Lukaku. You know, he scored 27 goals in all competitions, and he was in a really, really good form as Romelu Lukaku in his first season, but hasn't really replicated, you know, he didn't really replicate that throughout the course of last season. And you know, I've got strong reservations about, you know, when it comes to his footballing ability, you know, when it comes to his first touch, you know, when it comes to his link-up play, you know, when it comes to him playing the big teams and all that. I've got strong reservations about Romelu Lukaku, but I still credit him. You know, his ratio is still very, very good in the Premier League. You know, his pedigree is very, very good in the Premier League. But yeah, like I said, I think it'll be beneficial if we can cash in for him. It will help us with our transition, and it will help us with our rebuilding process. And like I said, you know, obviously it's £200 million plus, isn't it, you know, just for Lukaku and Pogba, and that's discarding De Gea, but it's looking like, you know, De Gea is also, you know, going to be leaving, so that's probably about nearly £300 million there, you know, maybe even more, you know, for De Gea, Pogba and Lukaku, of course. So it is looking likely, that Lukaku is going to be leaving the club. But obviously, no initial fee has been agreed. But Lukaku's been in Italy to hold talks with Inter Milan's representatives, and the personal terms of that have been agreed. But he did basically say there has been talks of he did say Inter Milan were willing to offer £30 million plus Perisic, for Romelu Lukaku. But obviously Manchester United are not going to go along with this, obviously, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for one's not intending on winning any short-term players to the club. Obviously now Ivan Perisic, Jeremy's aging up, and number two, Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target. He was a long-term target under Jose Mourinho, was Ivan Perisic. Of course, I think the main factor reason why we didn't land Perisic under Mourinho, because obviously the £48 million Inter Milan were demanding. Manchester United, of course, were not willing to pay that figure for Ivan Perisic. So obviously we're not going along with this. There has been talks of Mario Icardi and Romelu Lukaku as a potential swap deal. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants Mario Icardi. There was talks about this a while back, because actually a lot of it stemmed from that very reliable Italian journalist Damasio. He was basically saying a while back, as I think I updated you, that Manchester United could swap Lukaku for Mario Icardi this summer. Talking about Mario Icardi, I do really like him. How old is he? He's 26. He's Argentinian. He's Mario Icardi. Obviously, spent the majority of his career, with Inter Milan. Of course, I think he's been in Inter Milan about 6 years. Obviously, scored over 100 odd goals, for Inter Milan. So obviously, the majority of his goals have come Inter Milan. I really like him, but I think he's a good, efficient finisher. But I have got a reservation about him, when it comes to some of his touches, his defensive contribution. I've got some reservations about him as well. So this is not going to go through, obviously, because Solskjaer is not keen on bringing Mario Icardi, of course, to Manchester United. So there has been talks, of Icardi and Lukaku as a potential swap deal. But potentially we know that Damasio, I think, is a very, very reliable, journalist, to be quite honest, especially in relation to Manchester United, and when it obviously, when it does come to transfers. So yeah, Solskjaer, I don't think he's keen on Mario Icardi. I think it did say if Man United were willing to let Romelu Lukaku go as part of any swap deal. It did say, we were demanding, Inter Milan's Milan Skriniar, of course, and again, obviously Milan Skriniar has been a long-term target for Manchester United, because obviously we was obviously linked with him last summer. We was linked with we've got a lot of central defenders on our agenda now, but obviously going back last summer there was a lot of central defenders on our agenda. Obviously we do know the rumours have continued to persist since last summer, but obviously the board weren't back in the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend in last summer, and our priority, of course, was to get a centre back in. But yeah, Milan Skriniar has been spoken about quite a few times. He's just recently signed a new deal, so he's under contract until 2023 with Inter Milan. I think he's played about 85 games for Inter Milan, 24 years of age, so he has still got a lot of development in him. So obviously, there was talks about that also, going on. So yeah, it's looking likely, Lukaku is going to be leaving, but our spending spree is going to be £250 million this summer. Obviously, we do know the club is still looking to hire a director of football, to change the structure of the club. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to need backing this summer, guys, as you all currently know. And yeah, so I think £250 million, should be enough to get us around 4 to 5 players, or something like that. But like I said, we're cashing for Lukaku, Pogba, and De Gea. That will be very, very beneficial indeed. And talking about Alexis Sanchez now, he's another player that's likely to be leaving Manchester United. And I think I heard quite a few reports yesterday, basically, saying that Arsenal should be urged, to go, to get Alexis Sanchez, back to Arsenal. Now, obviously, we do know Sanchez has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Now, potentially, Man United are willing to let him go. Obviously, we can't get rid of Sanchez permanently, based on his substantial wages. Obviously he's on £400,000 a week, potentially rising up to £500,000 a week, based with what they call it, with based on image rights and bonuses, it rises up to around £500,000 a week. And like I said, his wages are having a really, really bad effect on the football club. Obviously, Sanchez hasn't been the fundamental player. He hasn't exceeded expectation levels as we all thought he would have done. Regarding what he did at Arsenal, because he did have 4 good years with Arsenal. He did well under Pep Guardiola as well. Sanchez when he was younger, but he hasn't really replicated this form of Manchester United. He's been here 16 months. Obviously, he has become injury prone as well as Alexis Sanchez. I think he's sustained about 4 injuries at Manchester United. It did come out a couple of weeks ago, saying that Juventus and Inter Milan had expressed their interest in Sanchez, and it did say they'd held negotiations with Alexis Sanchez's agent, because obviously, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, Sanchez's agent, was in Italy, of course, and it did say Juventus and Inter Milan were heavily linked to him. So I think Man United are willing to let him go on a long season loan, and we're willing to, of course, to pay him half his wages off. So I haven't heard much about it lately, but it did say Sanchez had agreed the pay cut, of course. Sorry, it's got pins and needles in my foot. But yeah, like I said, guys, yeah, so I think Sanchez will be currently going. Like I said, he's been here 16 months, but he's just been so inconsistent as a Manchester United player, and obviously he hasn't got a future at the club. Obviously, he has lost that yard of pace as Alexis Sanchez, and he's he's aging up. He's 38 years of age, and I just don't see what future he has at the club. So we've definitely not got to get rid of him. Talking about obviously David De Gea as well. Obviously he's coming to an end. He's got a year left on his contract. Obviously, we failed to come to an agreement to get him a new contract, but we do know at least in the last year and a half, Manchester United have been in negotiations, to try and get David De Gea a new contract at the club. I think David De Gea is demanding around £350,000 a week for Manchester United. Manchester United are not willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. And reportedly, this is a figure that PSG, of course, are willing to meet. I think it did say PSG are preparing to put a bid in for him of around £60 million. Potentially, we'd rather cash in for De Gea this summer, rather than letting go on a free transfer next year, because that would be a calamity, if we let David De Gea go on a free transfer next year. But he's been a long servant here. He's been here 8 years, of course. He's made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions for Manchester United. He's won everything here domestically, of course. We do know at full value that De Gea's, he's worth around £100 million for the goalkeeper, because he's potentially the best goalkeeper in the world. But potentially we're not going to get £100 million because he's only got a year left on his contracts, of course. But PSG, of course, have attracted their interest, and that's his likely destination. If he does leave Manchester United, which is looking very, very likely indeed. And David De Gea, as I said, he hasn't really done much wrong in his 8-year period. He did make some costly errors towards the back end of last season, did David De Gea, but I think that's mainly to do with the contractual situation. So it's looking likely he's going to be going. Came out, was it the other week, saying that he turned down the final contract offer for Manchester United. I don't think Man United are intending on buying a goalkeeper to replace David De Gea. I think we're willing to promote Sergio Romero as our number one goalkeeper for next season. I like Sergio Romero, but I don't know if he's reliable enough yet to become our number one goalkeeper. As I said, we've got Dean Henderson, but I think Dean Henderson needs more experience, because obviously he's been on loan with Sheffield United as Dean Henderson, and so I still think we need to buy a goalkeeper to replace De Gea, of course, but maybe it's not in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans. But yeah, like I said, we can get around £60 or £70 million for De Gea. Obviously, we do know Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him back in 2015, but due to a fax machine, the deal never materialised, and obviously, that was the main factor, reason why. As you all know as well about Juan Mata, now it's looking like Juan Mata is going to be leaving Manchester United. When his contract comes to a conclusion. Obviously, Manchester United have failed to agree a contract term extension for Juan Mata. If I'm pretty right, I think the latest team to be interested are Newcastle. Rafael Benitez is interested in Juan Mata, and obviously maybe Rafael Benitez wants to reunite with Juan Mata, because obviously Juan Mata played under Rafael Benitez, of course, during his days with Chelsea, of course, and so Newcastle have inquired about his services. So will Juan Mata go to Newcastle, and will he continue applying his trade in the Premier League? Because obviously he's been in the Premier League 8 years now in total. Obviously he's been at Manchester United 5 years. Obviously when he was younger, he had 2.5 3 years with Chelsea. He's got years of experience under his belt in the Premier League, as Juan Mata. Obviously we do know Barcelona have been in talks to get Juan Mata on a free transfer. Obviously as well, maybe from Juan Mata's perspective, he may want to make the return back to Spain because he's Spanish himself. Obviously, it's basically his home. It's his hometown and all that. And maybe he wants to, because obviously as well he played in Spain a lot when he was younger. Began his career with Real Madrid. Obviously, played for Valencia. Under Ryan Rea for 4 years. Did Juan Mata. So yeah, and if he goes to Barcelona, obviously he's not going to be first choice. He's going to be used at Barcelona as a squad player, because initially now he's a squad player at Manchester United. He doesn't even get in the team now. Juan Mata. But like I said, he's 31 years of age. He has lost that yard of pace. And I'd love him, to get him at least. I'd love him to spend another season there with Manchester United, but I don't see it happening. I think Man United were in talks of getting him a new 1-year extension, or was it a 2-year extension, of course. But obviously the club are not willing to offer him a long-term contract. Looking at his age, obviously he's 31 years of age now. He's Juan Mata, but I think he's made over 200 appearances for us in all competitions. Obviously, he's been here since the David Moyes era as Juan Mata. So yeah, it's looking likely, very likely, should I say, he's going to be leaving Man United. Obviously, you do know that Ander Herrera has obviously, left on a free transfer, and that was bad business with Manchester United, letting Ander Herrera, go on a free transfer. But obviously, the main factor reason why he's gone on a free transfer, because obviously, Man United were not willing to meet the wages he was currently demanding. He was demanding £200,000 a week, £200,000 a week from Manchester United. Obviously, wasn't willing to pay that, and to be quite honest, I don't blame us, because I think Ander Herrera is really, really good, and he's been one of our best players, since Ferguson retired. But I wouldn't say Ander Herrera is worth £200,000 a week. So obviously now we're in the market to look for a replacement for Ander Herrera. Talking about Darmian and Rojo as well, I think we do need to also, get rid of them, because I think, they've enjoyed a difficult time at Manchester United of Darmian and Rojo, and I said at an estimated guess, we could get around £30 million, for Matteo Darmian and Marcus Rojo. Recently, according to Sky Sports, he did say Marcus Rojo, wants to stay at Manchester United, but yeah, I think we need to basically, get rid of them. If a new centre-back is to come in this summer, I think, Eric Bay's future, could be in serious doubt. Of course, obviously, Eric Bay burst into the scenes very well when he came into the Premier League, but I think, based on his fallout with managers, based on his injuries he has sustained, I think it's had a really, really bad effect on his Manchester United career. Obviously, we did pay £30 million for him from Villarreal back in 2016. £30 million from Villarreal back in 2016, so I think we're looking to try and recoup the £30 million that we did initially pay for Eric Bay. So I think a new centre-back comes in, his future is in even more serious jeopardy. And so I expect around probably 4 players, to leave Manchester United this summer. Obviously, all the players that we do currently want to leave, obviously we're not going to be able to address this problem in one window. But I said any signs we do make this summer have got to fit the culture and the history of the club. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking to buy into our history, of course. And so you can see blatantly, that these are cultural problems at the club. But how should we be with our recruitment this summer? Because I've heard people saying, we should be sensible with our recruitment, because there's a lot of players on our agenda that are available for a reasonable figure. But talking about that midfield, the midfielders I would like, as I've already gone through with you, I'd love Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United. Obviously, I give me update a couple of days going on Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, more things had updated about him. Bruno Fernandes came out and said he's had 2 intense years, with Sporting Lisbon. And he said he doesn't know if he'll be spending a third year there and all that. And he said he doesn't basically know if he's going to be leaving Sporting Lisbon. So basically, he doesn't know where his future lies. Bruno Fernandes, did deny having any... Bruno Fernandes, did deny, having any negotiations with Manchester United over the potential move to Old Trafford. But we do know he's been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite a long time now. We do also know Manchester City are heavily linked to him. I think Manchester City are emerging as the front runners, to get a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. I think City want to wrap up a deal with around £42 or £43 million for his services. Obviously, the more attractive option, for a player Bruno Fernandes' calibre, obviously, would be Manchester City, of course. But I do really like Bruno Fernandes. He is primarily an attacking midfielder, so like I said, I think he would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba. He's only 24 years of age, is Bruno Fernandes. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. I do believe he's got all the capabilities and he's got all the attributes, to succeed in the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. So he will succeed in the Premier League, with Bruno Fernandes if he came. And I think, he'd definitely meet expectation levels. So could he be playing his trade in the Premier League next season? Obviously, his initial release clause is around £86 million in his contract with Sporting Lisbon, but I think it came out a couple of weeks ago saying that the quoted fee was around £60 million that Sporting Lisbon, wanted for Bruno Fernandes. Now, obviously, he had a lot of experience of playing in Italy, when he was younger, obviously, with the likes of San Pandora and Udinese and all that, so he is flourishing, fantastically well, is Bruno Fernandes. So I really, really like him a lot, and I hope somewhere along the line Manchester United can get a deal over the line for him. So he is still on Manchester United's agenda, still got a contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023, but he is primarily attacking midfield. Obviously, City would see him as a replacement for Fernandinho, but actually Fernandinho is primarily a defensive midfielder. So there's still a lot of the rumours do continue to persist linking Bruno Fernandes with a move to Old Trafford and Manchester City and all that. But I think he's denied like he's had any negotiations with any club, including Manchester United, of course. But I think Bruno Fernandes is aware of the speculation. But he's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, and he'd been depth in our midfield, and I think he would be fantastic indeed. Obviously, as well, talking about Joe Felix, he's another player I'd like at Manchester United. I think he's very, very good indeed. 19 years of age. I do believe that Joe Felix, can emulate into one of the best players in the world. He's been fantastic with Benfica. This has only been his first season in their senior squad. He's yet to make his senior debut at Portugal, but I think Benfica bluntly, made it clear if they are willing to do any business with Joe Felix, they're demanding that a team has to be, basically, trigger his buyout clause. And obviously his buyout clause is around 105 million pounds. But he did say that Manchester United, would, stepped our interest up in him, and he did say we were willing to trigger his 105 million buyout clause. So yeah, and I'd love us to, get Joe Felix in. Like I said, 19 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of development in him. Obviously, Man United have been scouting him for a long time now. I think the rumours have continued to persist, about Joe Felix to, Manchester United, and obviously other clubs have been interested. I think the rumours have continued to persist, since January. Of course, I think Liverpool had a £60 million bid, turned down for him in January. Real Madrid have inquired about his services. Also, Manchester City are in for Joe Felix, but he's primarily an attacking midfielder. Can also play as a winner, can play as a striker and a secondary striker. So Joe Felix is very, very versatile indeed. So there has been a lot of talks about him going on, but Man United have been scouting him, for a very, very long time now. And as you all do know, that's been coming out in the media, guys, in the last couple of days. As you all know, as I've been updating you on. And do you think he'd be the right solution for Manchester United? But to be fair, I don't really know much about this player, but I think he's had a really, really good season in the La Liga, and he's called Giovanni Lo Celso. Now, it has said quite a few teams have attracted their interest in him. Now, it says Man United have been interested. I think Tottenham have been interested. City have been interested as well. I think Real Madrid have also inquired about his services. Now, he's 23 years of age. He's a Real Betis midfielder. I think he's actually a central midfielder. So yeah, he's 23 years of age. He is Argentinian. I think he scored 16 goals in the La Liga in all competitions this season, with Real Betis. So he has been subjected to some transfer speculation. But like I said, I don't know much about the player. I know Real Betis, got him permanently, back in April. I think they paid a fee of around, 90? Was it around 19 or 20 million pounds or something like that? Obviously, initially he was on loan with Real Betis, because Real Betis got him last summer from PSG. So obviously, if Real Betis, do sell him, obviously, this will be beneficial for PSG, because obviously, PSG get a percentage of any sale, for Giovanni Lo Celso. So now, it basically, reportedly says, it reportedly says that Tottenham have reportedly put a bid in for him of around 53 million pounds. His initial lease cost is around 88 million pounds, but Tottenham put a bid in of around 53 million pounds for him. Obviously, Pochettino will want back in this summer, because obviously, as we all know, Tottenham have obviously not done any transfer activity at least in the last couple of windows. I think the last signing they made was back in January 2018, and actually that was Lucas Moura, if I'm right, and he's done really, really well since he's gone to Tottenham. I think Tottenham's record signing was obviously Davinson Sanchez, who they got from back in 2017. I think Tottenham, paid around, was it £42 million for Davinson Sanchez. So, there's quite a few players on Tottenham's agenda, but obviously, Giovanni Lo Celso, of course, is one of them. So they put a bid in around £53 million. Whether this will be enough to convince Real Betis, to do any business, I do not know, because maybe they may be looking somewhere in the region of around £80 million for his current services. They may even demand for his release clause to be current triggered, because as I said, his release clause is around £88 million. So he's called Giovanni Lo Celso. I think that his name is pronounced right, and he's been spoken about in the last couple of days in the media. But yeah, as you all know, there's a lot of players on Manchester United's agenda, of course. And like I did basically say, I love Matt Easterling, to come to Manchester United. Also, I do believe we need another central defender, because obviously, we've got the likes of Smalling and Jones. I said they shouldn't be here next season, but they are going to be here next season. Obviously, Smalling and Jones have been 2 long-serving players at the club. Smalling's been here 9 years. Jones has been here, 8 years. And of course, as I said, comparing Smalling and Jones, I think Smalling's a much, much better defender than Phil Jones. But it was a bad mistake for Manchester United, giving them new long-term contracts. Obviously, as I've already given you the update on, we're set to miss out on Napoli's Koulibaly, of course, because obviously, Napoli now are demanding an extortionate fee for him. They're demanding around £150 million. So basically, Napoli have ruled him out of the current transfer market. So now we are turning our attentions more on Ruben Dias from Benfica. But looking at, Ruben Dias will substantially, cost them a lot less than Koulibaly. He's a cheaper alternative, as I said, and also he's a lot younger than Koulibaly. I think he's 5 or 6 years younger than Koulibaly. Ruben Ruben Dias. I think Man United have inquired about his services a couple of times in the past. I think he's become an integral part of Benfica's team. Obviously, I spent the entirety of his career with Benfica, progressing them up their ranks and all that. I think Manchester United would have to come up with a bid in the excess of around £60 million, to convince Benfica to do any business there with Ruben Dias. So now we have prioritised Ruben Dias over Napoli's Koulibaly. So there is a lot of central defenders on Manchester United's agenda, of course. So yeah, guys, that's mainly everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel, and if you do consider subscribing as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.